Well, this is more like it. Thank you for clicking on my channel. Welcome to the Real Movie Podcast. And today I want to talk about The Rings of Power, episode 6. This episode felt a lot more concentrated, and it did feel like a spin-off from Lord of the Rings. We follow two main stories in this one, and these two stories clashed into one at the end. We follow Bronwyn and Arondir. I'm not gonna say the pretty lady and the black elf because that was both racist and misogynistic. We follow their story and the story of Galadriel and Halbrand. So we don't see Nori and Elrond in this episode. What happens in this episode? Well, those army of elves, they're trying to attack that castle where village people are residing or staying or resting at. They're not resting, they are just waiting for the orcs to attack. Anyways, Adar breaches the castle, there's no one there, it's a trap, and Arondir just kills like half of those orcs, and it shows that people are back in the village and they are preparing themselves for the fight, for the next fight that will happen, because now they think they have eradicated half of the orcs. This episode has two main plot twists, and this is where the first one happens. An army of orcs attack people in the village, they fight them off and they win, but Arondir realizes that most of these guys were those people who were separated from the village people in the last episode, and they joined the orcs, which is really heartbreaking. And all of a sudden that orc army, but is remaining of them at least, they attack them. And by the way, here was something weird. The math about the orcs numbers, it did remind me of the math that happened with the Dothrakis in that infamous 8th season of Game of Thrones, because they did seem a lot of them, and all of a sudden there were so few of them, and all of a sudden again there were many of them. I don't know what happened, but anyways, it did feel like that Dothraki army. So here was the first plot twist. Most of those guys were men. The orcs attack people, they retrieve to that tavern. Bronwyn is almost fatally wounded. Orcs are too many, they attack, they enter the tavern, they ask Arondir where is that weapon, that sword, which is a key to that hidden door. And although Arondir does not say where it is, that kid, that asshole of a kid, he tells the elves where is that key, and it is hidden under that bar, which was again weird, because in one scene we see that Arondir gets that weapon and he wants to bury it and just lose it somewhere, and he doesn't tell anyone, and he doesn't even tell Bronwyn. And the best place to hide that important thing is in that tavern. Are you freaking kidding me? You could have just thrown it anywhere, somewhere that even you wouldn't know. That was a stupid decision. Anyways, Adar takes that weapon, but a scene happens that we saw in Lord of the Rings, where the hope is really small. Something will happen, and those slow motion guys, Halbrand and Galadriel, they enter. Adar does run with that sword, and Galadriel catches up with them and she stops him. Galadriel interrogates this guy. It seems like Halbrand has some personal issues with him. Galadriel interrogates him and he says that there's nothing that you can do. And here's where the second plot twist happens, which was pretty huge, to be honest. It was exciting. For the first week, I can't wait to see the next episode of The Rings of Power. It turns out that the weapon that Adar had with him was not that key, that sword. It was another weapon, and the real weapon is in the hands of that old guy who had that mark. He uses the key and it activates a volcano, and all of these guys, good guys, they are under ashes. I don't know if they are alive or not, but I really find it difficult to believe that these guys are alive, because from what I know from ashes is that the temperature of those turns to thousands of degrees. That was the second plot twist and it was good, but I still can't lie. 10 minutes of House of the Dragon has much more things happen inside it than an hour and a half of The Rings of Power. And yeah, that's it. Tell me, what did you think about this episode? As always, if you have anything to say and add, comment down below and let me know. Thanks. Bye.